A lot of times we talk about our ancestors, you know, and
Mhm.
I'm curious how, in what way do you feel that the ancestors were watching you in your current path, or do you have any stories to share in terms of like that feeling of because I know you did, even though your parents weren't around, um,
Mhm.
your ancestors, for a lot of us, we
Mhm.
believe our ancestors were there supporting us, almost like guardian angels, you know,
Mhm.
in some
Mhm.
ways.
Mhm. I don't think I really thought about that in depth. Like I think I thought about
Mm,
it in passing for sure, especially
mm,
when like in bebop gatherings or like there are elders at the house like visiting and stuff like that and they talk about it. Like it's definitely something that I did think about in passing. But the bigger picture for me is like I was 100% sure that I was led like here on purpose. You know,
oh,
something did lead me here on purpose. And I
right.
have I have thought about like God, because sometimes we do go to church, and I did think about like the ancestors and stuff. I did think about like my parents, like probably like guiding it and stuff like that. And the one interesting thing was my cousin pointed it out in BC was when I was born, the first language that my mom taught me. So my first language is English.
Oh yeah.
So
What?
I've been taught English since I was
Yeah,
born.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so then when I moved here when I was 13, the transition was much easier in terms of communication,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
I was able to socialize better than other kids. I didn't have to go to ESL. I didn't have to, all these things. So
Yeah.
I feel like it just led to like an easier transition for my life in the Philippines and my life here.
Oh, so that goes along with Jay's question,
Wow.
kind of like how, like that feeling of culture shock, but like kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
talking about adapting a little bit,
yeah.
But it seems like you were almost set up to make that adaptation. And I know that
Right.
in many ways, especially with families with a little bit of means to be able to do that, there is almost like a setup. Hey, you know what? Your life will be better overseas. Uh
Hmm.
and if you could get into like North America or Australia,
UK.
uh or UK,
Yeah.
Europe, those would be your best options.
Right,
And
right.
and 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 it's interesting that you were already being set up in some way. And I don't
Hmm.
know how intentional. I mean, your mom could have been, who would have known what the
Yeah,
future would be, but there was some sort of
exactly.
intention about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was an English teacher, so that's like,
Ah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that kind of helps too, right?
yeah,
Just a quick question about that, because one of the
yeah.
things that like especially the older generation of Igorots, and my observations is that just this is most Igorots tend to speak better English than the rest of the Philippines,
Hmm.
and a lot of Igorots pride themselves in that, and that has a lot to do
Hmm.
with colonization, right? And the educators
Yeah,
that came up to the Cordillera. Um,
yeah.
I mean, like, uh, so that really did help. I know you already said it, but I guess that whole ability to speak English,
Hmm.
um, and not Carabao English, but like decent
Hmm.
English,
Hmm.
was
Yeah,
it seemed like it helped in your yeah, it must have helped in your transition. Um,
yeah. It
yeah.
helped
Where
a
did your
lot.
mom teach?
She taught in Busao, St. James High School.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Is English
And
still
mhm,
sorry.
yeah.
Is English still like a major part? Because I remember in the Philippines for a while they like, was it the mid 90s or something like that, where they were getting into this real nationalistic kind of thing, and they didn't want to teach English anymore. But I guess in the
Yes, they
Mountain
stopped
Province
teaching in
they
some
kept
schools.
on they kept on going,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because
No,
I
they do still teach English.
mhm,
And then however, like a lot of the subjects that used to be taught in English is now taught in the mother tongue
in
of that.
Cantonese or of
Yeah,
the
or
local
like
area.
or Tagalog or like Ilocano or like whatever language
Yeah.
is more, um more comfortable in that space. But
Mhm,
a lot of the textbooks have changed, like science and math textbooks. They're in Tagalog.
I see, I see.
Hmm.
Is that do you think that's helpful, or is I mean that's
Um,
good for indigenous pride, I think, but or maybe
yeah,
local pride, but
yeah, for sure. I think it helps. It helps keep the the language, right? That we have, the dialects that we have. It helps keeps it because in the Philippines, especially like in the Philippines in general, it's like, oh, if you don't speak English, you might not be smart. That kind of thing, right? So it kind of eradicates that stigma of not being able to speak English, because a lot of people think that you know you have to speak smart. Sorry, you have to be speak English to like be smart, kind of thing.
mm,
So it helps that.
Yeah.